the part of you that has a hard time listening, right? Because she's so focused on needing to get it perfectly right that it's more important that she say her side than be able to pause and listen because she's so committed to doing everything just the right way. We've all come here with a divine purpose, traveling on a stream of cosmic dust from the stars into our mother's wombs, born into this precious life. It is no accident that you are here, my love, on earth, in this moment, in this body. You are here longing to find your place, to align with your purpose, to embody your passions and to live into the dreams of your heart. Yet so often we get caught, suspended in the tangle of life, not able to move forward, not able to find solace and comfort in a world that has forgotten the truth of our existence. As we begin to remember, as we peel back the layers, as we come together to uncover our unique gifts and reconnect with our authentic selves, we are able to see another way of being, a new possibility, a different life waiting to be lived. I have experienced on this complicated and wild journey of life that when we connect with the story of our soul, it will show us the magic of this life that we have been missing. It will open a window into the very heart of who we truly are, of who we came here to be, and gives us answers to our ever-asking why. Hello, my loves. Welcome to the show today. Thanks for tuning in. Always just so much gratitude to be here with you and to be able to offer this intuitive wisdom into the world and into your ears, into your hearts. So thank you. And today's show is really about listening, right? Deep, deep listening and how we can support the people that we love through our willingness to pause and to listen to what they are trying to say, even when this is really, really hard. And the power that is in this, I actually call it sacred listening. And I do believe and experience that it is one of our intuitive powers, our clairaudience, which I love to call sacred listening. And it is this ability to really hear another person. And what we also explore in this podcast is the ability and the willingness to listen without trying to fix. Because we love to rush in with advice. We love to rush in to try to fix things, to make the other person feel better. This is just such a beautiful human gift, right? That we want to bestow upon each other. And yet, when we do this, ultimately, we are disempowering the other person. We are saying, I don't trust that you know how to handle this yourself. And therefore, I'm going to try and protect you and take it away from you and fix it for you and offer advice and all the things that we do with so much love. And yet at the same time, don't allow each other to find our own wisdom, right? The wisdom that lives deep inside you, that when you are deeply listened to, is allowed to come forth, that you are allowed to find within yourself. And so really exploring this great gift that we can offer each other when we really allow space to be heard and to be seen and to be witnessed. And then really the strength and resilience that grows from this place that is allowed to flow forward into the world and gives you a sense of purpose just from being listened to. And this is the gift you give to someone else, right? When you allow them. So think about that as you're listening to this call. Where are the places that you are trying to fix others and fix yourself, right? Ultimately, I don't enjoy the word fix because it says there's something wrong and something wrong with you. Now, there might be something about the situation or the pattern or the conditioning that you're stuck in that is not supportive of your growth and your continued expansion. Yet, if we are able to look at it through the lens of growth and curiosity, rather than through the lens that I'm broken and I need fixing, carries a very different energy, and it allows for so much more transformation when you can access, right, that place inside you that is your wholeness, that is where you're complete, where you're deserving. And this is the place that you flow forth from. So before we dive into this lovely call with Dee, I do want to remind you of all the free resources that we have that help you develop your intuition, ignite your intuition, activate your intuition, all the things, the quiz, right, that allows you to determine, are you clairaudient? Is this your primary power? Or are you maybe clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizance? The quiz link is in the show notes if you haven't taken that already. And then also the paid programs, the self-studies that we are offering that really give you practices, resources, exercises, ceremony, ritual, guided meditation, journeying. So many enriching things are included in these courses, that things that have changed my life, have shifted me, have really aided in my deep transformation, I am now sharing with you. And we are offering 50% off to our listeners to any of our self-study programs, and you can use podcast50 as your coupon code in checkout. We'll link that in the show notes, as well as the link to all of the offerings that we have. Thank you for being on this journey. It really is the way forward, right? When we unite together in purpose to really go deep into the things that are keeping us stuck, the things that are limiting us, the things that we perceive keep us from living the life that is intended. And I want you to live the life that you came here to live, my love. So dive deep. As always, thank you for being here. Hi, Dee. Welcome to the podcast. How can I help you today?
Hi, Sarah. Thank you very much. I struggle with my own dependence, and I'm married to a very strong-willed man, and I'm strong-willed as myself. And I'd like some assistance with how to navigate that world with him. We've only been together about 7 years. And I'm also at the point in my life where I'm looking for that purpose for myself.
Thank you. So, when you were talking about you and your husband, the word that's dropping in is listening. And I'm wondering how good each of you are at actually listening to each other.
Probably not the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that. We're not active listening. We're both kind of waiting to say the next thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see you there. Like you're both very, like you take up a lot of space in a good way, right? And a lot of presence. And it's like, the way I see it is you're kind of both saying the same thing. You're just, you're not pausing long enough to hear that the other person actually might be agreeing with you because you're so busy trying to like get the next word in that you're missing out on all the stuff that you actually agree on.
Okay.
It's making me think of like, it's a negotiation technique where you find out what the person's need is ahead of time, because so often in negotiation, you're not even considering the need. And sometimes you're arguing over a need that somebody else doesn't even have. But you don't know that because you're just in the argument instead of being in the needs. And when you just approach it from, hey, I need this, and you're like, well, I don't really need that. It doesn't matter to me. You can have that. And the other person's like, well, I need this. And then they're kind of saying the same thing, like, oh, we were busy arguing about this other thing when really what we needed, nobody really minds about anyway.
You know what? That sounds very true. Like you said, it's almost a negotiation tactic. But sometimes we're negotiating for the same thing, but we're just not listening to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite interesting for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of respect, is the word I hear. And there's a lot of things that you are aligned on.
Hmm.
And you're like little kids in the sandbox, is how I see it. Like he's like throwing sand at you and being like, huh, what are you going to do about it? You're going to tell my mom? And it's very like, it's like, yes, you're arguing, but there's this underlying current of playfulness in a way that if you could just both get out of this need to be right and need to be heard, that then there's like this flow underneath that's waiting for you.
Yeah, it's very funny that you say the playground because every once in a while I'll say to him, "And how old are we today?"
Totally, I can see it. It's really sweet. Like, I'm laughing because it's so sweet. Like if you think about little kids and they're just so fresh in the world and they're just trying to like figure out how to connect and communicate. And it has that feel to it where there's so much that you can build on
Hmm.
if you could both lean into this place a little more and just pause and listen.
Right. Some of the things that I've been saying lately is, can you just listen to me? Because he's got other stuff in his head. And so I'm trying that tactic in a kind way.
Mhm. Yeah. What happens? Have you tried listening first?
I have ADHD and he's a long storyteller.
Mm,
So by the time he gets to what he's talking about, I'm in another zone.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And so I look for ways to kind of get him to speed things up, but I don't want to take away from what his excitement about the story might be.
Mhm.
So maybe I need to do my listening.
Yeah. And I see that like the way that's dropping in, it's like, it's you like using it as an opportunity to practice focus and presence and to work with your ADHD in a different way, right? In like a spiritual, divine way. And you're like, okay, here's this man, and he's really long winded. And I just want him to get to the point so that I don't lose focus. But it's like bringing in the love that I feel flowing underneath and like seeing him with fresh eyes. And maybe he is like that little animated kid, right? And then what you're doing is like, okay, I'm going to breathe out until he finishes this sentence. And then I'm going to breathe in until he finishes this sentence. Or like there's something that you bring to anchor you into the present moment. It feels like this is something that you have chosen him to learn as presence.
Okay.
It's like he's a gift to help you work with your ADHD.
Hmm. Yeah, he does try to keep me focused, and my strong will just kind of goes, but you're managing me, which is he's not. It's his way of encouraging me and making sure that I am focused on some of the projects that I'm working on.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's so easy to look at what someone else is doing and put it through our own lens of our own wounding or our conditioning and programming. And then we make what they're doing into something else. I'm wondering, have you heard of or read The Five Love Languages?
I have,
And have you done that together and include that in your relationship at all?
yes, he's acts of service and I'm quality time.
Hmm. Okay.
And he is truly acts of service. From the moment that he gets up, he is doing things for me. And my biggest thing is I just want to spend time with him when my day is done. But we
Hmm.
both have other things to do after our work days are done. So we don't get to spend as much quality time together as I would like. So it's making sure that maybe we carve out 1 or 2 nights a week just to spend time together.
Hmm. And you're not currently doing that.
No, not really.
And do you think that could be supportive to do that?
Oh, absolutely. We've talked about it, but we just really haven't done much about it at this point. And when we both work so hard, I think it's important that you do spend quality time together.
Yeah. It's like you're feeding the relationship.
Right.
Hmm.
And we do try on the weekends to spend as much time together as we can. So that's when we're both able to do acts of service and quality time for each other.
Yeah, it sounds like you would like a little more, though.
I would.
Hmm. What can you do to facilitate that or make that happen?
I think the biggest thing is that, like I said, 1 or 2 nights a week, we always have dinner together. We always do, which is great. But it's that after dinner component where it's this time, let's say 9:30, and he goes into his office to do some writing, but that's every single night. And what I'd like to be able to do is say, okay, here's 2 nights a week that we're just dedicated to spending time together, whether it's playing chess or watching a movie together or just chilling out together. It's the whole evening from like after dinner until we retire to the bedroom.
Hmm.
I think he would definitely be open for that. Like I said, we've chatted about it, but we really haven't gone to any measures to actually put it into place.
Yeah, that could be the next step, right?
Right.
The question that's dropping in, and we're focusing it on how your love language can be met with more quality time. And I'm curious, how are you meeting his love language of acts of service?
Well, that's the big, because he is acts of service, he does a lot of acts of service, but because I work full time outside the house, when I want to cook something for him or want to do something for him, he'll say, I don't have, like me, I don't have the time because I'm so busy. And I think, but I want to do this for you. So that gives me my opportunity to do acts of service for him. That's why on the weekends, I generally do all the cooking and make the coffees and the teas. And he gets to do a little bit more of what he wants to do during that day or those days.
Okay, yeah, so you are incorporating both of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. But he does. He does all the lunches and breakfasts and dinners during the week and the house cleaning. And then on the weekend, it's kind of reversal because he's semi retired so that I get that opportunity to do the cleaning and the laundry and the other things and making all the meals.
Yeah, I have a really big smile. My love languages are quality time and acts of service. They like, so as you're speaking, I'm like, oh, I love this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard because I'm gone from 8 a.m. in the morning until usually after 5.
Mhm.
And people that are listening are going to go, he's a keeper. He makes my tea, makes my breakfast, makes my lunch, goes and starts my car, and I go off to work. And when I get home, he cooks dinner. And that's his acts of service because that's what he is. That's so it's really lovely. Although I do struggle with it because I'm like, I can do this on my own, but I've had to kind of step back and go, let him. He wants to do it. You have to let him.
Yeah. Well, it's this love, right, that I feel like it's threaded through your words and these beautiful ways that you are honoring each other. And yet, then there's this piece where we explored in the beginning of being able to listen and being able to give each other that space for you to be heard. It's going to shift the piece that's like sitting on top of all the love that's flowing underneath.
Right.
Well, where would you like to take our call from here?
I think it's more. about trying to also, for both of us, how I can build in that relationship of my purpose, or what do I want to do with everything that I'm learning, not only about myself, but about relationships. And even in my own business, I try to build a relationship with my clients. I struggle with trying to be the great wife, but I also struggle with the fact that, okay, I want to do this over here on the seaside, if you know what I mean.
Hmm. Well, what stood out to me in what you said is that you struggle to be a great wife. And what that pulls me into, right, is this part of you, maybe this expectation of yourself. Because when you started talking about your purpose, like there was a real, like I sat up straighter. We want to pay attention. This is important. I could feel the energy flowing up through me and out through the mouth, like as if you were orating and sharing with words to people. And that this channel that I feel in you wants to be used for good. So that happened. And then you brought in this piece of being a great wife. And so it feels like there's this muddying in there of you believing in yourself and giving yourself like the kudos that you deserve for who you are and what you're doing. And then dropping these imposed expectations and benchmarks almost is the word that like you're supposed to hit these. And if you do all these things and check all the boxes, well, then you matter. And then you're doing a good job and then you can be loved. And so it goes like that. So what's your reflection on that?
Oh, but you nailed it. I have pretty high expectations for myself. I always have. And I'm not one to want to fail, although I have failed in marriages and relationships in the past. But this is the one I don't want to fail in. And even personally for my business, yes, check all the boxes, make sure this is done so all the clients are happy. And then I feel exhilarated because I've done a good job. And it's not the kudos that I expect, it's the fact that inside I know I've done a good job and I've been a good person.
And what does it mean about you if you've done a good job and you've been a good person?
Hmm. I guess it really means that I've achieved something for myself. And I can say that comes from growing up and the mindset and changing the mindset to that I don't have to do everything perfect to achieve my goals, to achieve what I want, because perfect really doesn't exist.
Yeah. And it usually doesn't lead to happiness.
And that's so true. I think that's one of the things that I struggle with is the fact that I want to be perfect and I want everything else in the world to be perfect,
Hmm.
but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. It's kind of a wild and rough and rocky ride most of the time that we're trying to surf and navigate, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. And then here's this part that demands perfection of you. And I wonder if she isn't also connected into the part of you that has a hard time listening, right? Because she's so focused on needing to get it perfectly right that it's more important that she say her side than be able to pause and listen because she's so committed to doing everything just the right way.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say that's right.
Hmm.
And being able to have the opportunity to speak with you, you think on it and you go, okay, you need to listen more and you need to just step back and just be present and that eye contact and just listening and then waiting to speak.
Mhm. Sometimes, right, when we think about our motivation, right, what's our motivation for doing something? And I wonder, and feel for what's true for you in this, right? But there's this sense of you not being able to pause and like rushing in to speed your husband up as a way to try to fix it or to care for him or to like, oh gosh, like I just want to get this over with so that we can get back to perfect because right now this is uncomfortable and I just need to fix it for him. And he's too slow and dragging it out.
Yeah. Again, you've nailed it. And then what happens when I try to fix it for him, then I would say the frustration builds because we're not listening to each other.
Yeah. And also, what can happen in those moments, right, is that he doesn't really need you to fix it. And if he's trying to fix you as well, right, with the way that he's bringing it in too, what can happen under there is that it erodes trust. And it's kind of like a few steps down. But essentially, when we're trying to fix someone else, what we're telling them is that we don't trust them enough to be able to handle it themselves. And so there's kind of this like ickiness that happens in there because the person's left like, well, don't you believe in me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like way hidden under, right? Like that's not what you're arguing about in the moment. But underneath, it leads down to that. And I think there's such a wisdom and a magic when you can just hold space for somebody and just to let them have their own process. And I know that you know how to do this. I know that you can work this out. And I am so honored to be able to be the person that you share this with.
Well, and I thank you because you've provided me with some forethought as well as, I would say, some future tools that I can use in navigating the relationship that we both have and working on the relationship because marriage is never easy, but we got married for a reason. And I know that we both love each other, but it's navigating our different personalities in a way that extends or expands on that love we have for each other.
Yeah. And that's ultimately, I think, why we come together, right? Is to have the other person light up our stuff so that we can
Mhm.
clear it and we can learn and we can grow. And if you're in a relationship with somebody who's willing to meet you in that place, that's an incredibly beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And he does. He feels like such a kind man.
he is. He is. Yeah, he's very kind.
He's just a little frustrated, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind and he's helpful. And sometimes I would think to a fault, but that's who he is. And that's what's so endearing about him. And he's funny too. So,
Was there anything else I can support you with today?
no, I don't think so, Sarah. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
I said you gave me some good suggestions and a good reading on how to be a better woman, I will say.
To show up for yourself, right?
Exactly. I have to show up for myself too.
Yeah, because you're already an amazing woman. You don't need to be better.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, you just get to be present with all of you.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Does this feel like an okay place to land today?
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for your time.
You're welcome.